Cassava farming secrets, step-by-step guide. Step number 1, disease-free planting material. That is the foundation of success. These are sustainable techniques that increase yields by 70% while cutting costs by 50%. Understanding why planting material quality determines everything. The single most important factor determining whether you will harvest abundant high-quality cassava or struggle with disease-ravaged, poor-yielding plants is the quality of your planting material, the stem cuttings. Yet, this is precisely where most cassava farmers make the critical mistake that dooms their production from the very start by continuously saving stems from their own fields generation after generation, unknowingly accumulating viral diseases, bacterial wilt, root rot organisms, and physiological decline until their cassava produces between 40 to 70% less than its genetic potential, and wondering why yields keep declining despite their hard work. Understanding cassava disease transmission and planting material quality transforms everything. Cassava is propagated vegetatively from stem cuttings rather than through seeds, meaning every disease, virus, and pathogen present in the parent plant is transmitted to every cutting taken from that plant and grown in your field. If you plant diseased stem, you are deliberately infecting your entire field before you even begin. If you plant stems carrying cassava mosaic virus, that is CMV, cassava brown streak or cassava brown streak virus, CBSV, or bacterial blight, every single plant will be infected, reducing yield by between 30 to 80%. And if you plant old, exhausted stems from plants that are themselves the product of many generations of saved materials, vigor has declined substantially regardless of disease status. The devastating reality is that cassava mosaic disease and cassava brown streak disease, the two most economically important cassava diseases globally, are transmitted almost exclusively through infected planting material, making stem quality the absolute foundation of disease management. Cassava mosaic disease causes characteristic mosaic patterns on leaves, stunted growth, and yield reduction of between 30 to 90% to 95% depending on variety, susceptibility, and infection timing, affecting an estimated between 80 to 90% of smallholder cassava production in sub-Saharan Africa. Cassava brown streak disease causes brown necrotic streak in stems and roots, making them unmarketable. Yield losses of between 70 to 100% and devastating economic impact, especially in East and Central Africa. Both diseases have no cure. Once plants are infected, they remain infected for life and serve as disease source, infecting healthy plants through insect vectors, whiteflies, and possibly mealybugs. The only effective control is planting disease-free material from the start. The economics of quality planting or planting material are clear and compelling. Disease-free certified stems may cost between $50 to $150 per hectare. That is between $2,000 to 2,500 stems at the cost of $0.02 to $0.06 per stem, compared to free or nearly free saved stems, creating temptation to save money. But certified disease-free stems from resistant varieties consistently produce between 40 to 100 higher yield than typical saved disease materials. That is an additional 6 to 15 tons per hectare, worth between $480 to $1,800 in value, from a between $50 to $150 investment, providing return on investments of between 300 to 1,200%. The calculation is straightforward. Saving $100 on planting materials costs you between $800 to $1,500 in lost production. This is false economy that guarantees poverty. Every prosperous cassava farmer invests in quality planting material. Every struggling farmer saves disease stems, implementing proper planting material selection and handling. Farmers who can access certified disease-free planting materials, this represents the optimal foundation. Purchase certified cassava stems from government agricultural research stations, certified seed multiplication schemes, or reputable commercial suppliers, providing disease-tested material with variety purity guarantees, ideally from disease-resistant improved varieties, discussed in variety section or selection section. Verify supplier creditors and disease-free certification. Inspect stems carefully upon delivery, checking for visual disease symptoms like mosaic patterns, brown streaks, wilting, and rot, and plant immediately within 1 to 3 days of cutting while stems are fresh, maximizing establishment success. For farmers who cannot access or afford certified material, implement rigorous selection from existing fields. Practice positive selection, identifying between 15 to 20 exceptionally healthy, vigorous, high-yielding plants during the growing season. Marking these plants clearly, inspecting them repeatedly throughout the season, ensuring they remain symptom-free, and harvesting them only from these selected disease-free, high-performing plants for next season's planting. Remove any plant showing disease symptoms, poor growth, or viral symptoms from your selection and from the field entirely to prevent the spread. This farmer-led selection gradually improves material quality over 2 to 3 generations, though it cannot match certified disease-free material in reliability. Proper stem preparation dramatically affects stand establishment and early vigor. Select stems from the middle woody portion of harvested cassava plants, avoiding the soft green tips which have poor survival and the old basal portions which have reduced vigor. Using stems that are between 8 to 15 months old from well-grown plants, checking that stems are firm, healthy, brown to gray-brown in color, showing no signs of disease, damage, or rot. Cut selected stems into 20 to 25 centimeter sections containing between 5 to 7 nodes or buds, using sharp, clean knives, making clean cuts perpendicular to the stem, Angled cuts reduce success, ensuring each cut contains multiple good viable buds. Critical disease prevention. If using stems from multiple sources or plants, sterilize cutting tools between sources by dipping in 10% bleach solution, that is 1 part bleach to 9 parts water, or 70% alcohol, preventing transmission of bacterial blight and other diseases from infected to healthy material. This simple practice can prevent devastating disease epidemics. Plant stems within 1 to 3 days of cutting while fresh from best establishment. If storage is necessary, keep stems in cool shaded location, laying horizontally in single layers over or covering with moist but not wet material, and planting as soon as possible. Extended storage between 5 to 7 days dramatically reduces establishment and success. The planting orientation also affects the establishment speed. Horizontal planting, that is laying stem cuttings flat in shallow furrow covering within 5 to 8 centimeter soil, typically gives best with the fastest emergence and most uniform multiple shoot development, though it requires more soil disturbance. Vertical planting, that is standing stem cutting upright with the 2/3 barrier and 1/3 above ground, uses less soil disturbance and can work well with proper soil moisture. And inclined planting at 45 degrees angle provides compromise. Research across multiple environments shows that horizontal or inclined planting typically produces between 10 to 20% better early establishment than vertical, though differences diminish by harvest. Plant in moist soil during onset of rainy season for rain-fed systems. Ensure adequate moisture for the first 4 to 6 weeks, as this is critical for establishment. Dry season planting only works with reliable irrigation.